The warning sirens blared throughout the Galactic Confederation research vessel, the Horizon.
Lieutenant Commander Yunji Park rushed through the narrow corridors, her boots clanging against the metal floor. The ship shook from a distant explosion.
Status report.
Yunji shouted as she entered the bridge. Captain Taeho Kim stood rigid before the main display, his face illuminated by the red emergency lights.
Void hegemony ships approaching Row 7 colony.
3 cruisers, at least 6 destroyers.
Evacuation timeline? Yunji asked, moving to her station. 3 hours at best. Not enough time. Taeho's voice was grim. They'll be within firing range of the colony in 90 minutes. Yunji's mind raced to the coordinates she had discovered just days ago in the ancient ruins on Karos 4.
The strange numerical sequence had been carved into a stone tablet, preserved for what appeared to be thousands of years.
"Sir," she said, "there might be another option." Taeho raised an eyebrow. "We're listening, Commander."
Yunji pulled up the star chart on her console. "These coordinates I found point to a location not far from here, abandoned space near a dying star. The ruins suggested some kind of weapon or defense system."
"That's a long shot, Commander." "It's the only shot we have." Taeho considered for a moment, then nodded. "Plot the course."
"We'll investigate while the colony evacuates." The Horizon jumped to light speed, the stars blurring around them. When they emerged, a massive space station hung silent against the backdrop of a red giant star. The station was clearly of human design, but unlike anything in modern records. Its architecture was angular and imposing, built for function rather than beauty. "It's at least 1,000 years old," said Science Officer Miho Kong, examining the sensor data.
"From humanity's pre-Confederation era." "Life support?" asked Taeho. "Minimal power signatures.
But the station appears intact."
Yunji led the exploration team.
They docked with the station and entered through an airlock that seemed to activate upon their approach. Inside, emergency lights flickered on, revealing massive corridors covered in dust. "The air is breathable," Miho reported, checking his scanner. "Station systems must have detected our presence." They followed the lighting path that seemed to activate ahead of them, leading deeper into the station. Finally, they reached a massive hangar bay. As they entered, floodlights slowly illuminated what waited inside. "By the stars," whispered Yunji.
Before them sat an enormous warship. 1 kilometer long at least, its hull was made of materials they couldn't identify.
Angular and sharp, it exuded power even in its dormant state.
The name UNSS Vindicator was emblazoned on its side in faded lettering. "This is human technology?" Taeho asked in disbelief. "I've never seen anything like it."
Yunji approached a console near the observation deck. As she touched it, the screen came to life.
A deep hum resonated throughout the station as more systems activated.
A holographic figure materialized before them, a tall figure wearing what appeared to be an ancient military uniform. "I am Atlas, Artificial Tactical Logistics and Strategic Systems," the hologram announced.
"State authorization for reactivation of United Nations spaceship Vindicator."
The team looked at each other in confusion.
"We don't have authorization," Yunji admitted. "We represent the Galactic Confederation."
The hologram tilted its head.
"The Confederation?" Time query, what is the current date? Standard year 3587, Taeho answered. Atlas paused, processing. My records ended in year 2589. Query, why do you seek to reactivate this vessel? Yunji stepped forward. A hostile force called the Void Hegemony is attacking Confederation worlds. They're killing millions. We found your coordinates in ancient ruins, and we need help. Atlas studied her for a moment.
The Vindicator was created as humanity's shield, a final defense against extinction-level threats.
If such a threat exists again, protocol allows for emergency reactivation.
The hologram waved a hand, and suddenly the entire hangar bay illuminated. The ship before them began to pulse with light as systems awakened from centuries of dormancy.
Warning, Atlas announced. The Vindicator operates at 43% capacity. Full restoration will require time and resources. Will it fly? Yoonji asked. Can it fight? Affirmative. Basic weapon systems operational. FTL drive functional. Taeho's communicator beeped. He listened, then looked up with alarm. The hegemony fleet has increased speed. They'll reach the colony in 30 minutes. Yoonji turned to Atlas. We need this ship now. The colony has 20,000 civilians. Atlas nodded. Emergency protocols initiated. Preparing for departure. The station trembled as massive docking clamps released. The ancient warship's engines glowed with building energy. If you wish to crew this vessel, Atlas said, you must board now. Yoonji looked at Taeho, who nodded. Go. Take a volunteer team. We'll follow in the horizon. As Yoonji led her team aboard the massive ship, she felt both hope and fear. They were awakening something powerful from humanity's warlike past, something their peaceful confederation had chosen to forget. Yoonji stood on the bridge of the Vindicator, watching as her small team explored their stations. The ancient command center was massive compared to modern ships, with workstations arranged in concentric circles around a central command chair. Everything was built with a solidity that felt almost primitive, metal and physical controls instead of the holographic interfaces common on Confederation vessels. What was this ship built for? She asked Atlas, whose holographic form stood beside her. The Vindicator was the last Dreadnought-class vessel constructed by United Humanity, Atlas replied. Designed to face extinction-level threats and win. Engineer Jaiwobek looked up from a console she had managed to activate. Commander, these weapon systems, they're beyond anything in our technical database. I'm seeing energy projectors that could slice through a small moon, missile systems with independent tactical AI, and defense fields that operate on principles I don't even understand. That technology was thought to be theoretical, Yoonji said, examining the schematics that appeared on the main screen. For you, perhaps, Atlas responded. The humans who built me considered them practical necessities. The ship shuddered slightly as ancient engines powered up fully. Through the viewports, Yoonji could see the station receding as the Vindicator moved under its own power for the first time in centuries. FTL drive charging, reported Miho from the navigation station. Whatever powers this ship, it's unlike anything we use. The energy readings are off the charts. Atlas's hologram moved to the center of the bridge. I have accessed your ship's data regarding the Void Hegemony threat. Analysis suggests their technology is inferior to the Vindicator's capabilities, even in our reduced state. Let's hope so, Junji said. We need to reach Row 7 colony immediately. Preparing for light jump, Atlas announced. Be advised, this vessel's propulsion system operates differently from your Confederation designs. The experience may be unsettling. Before Yoonji could ask what that meant, the view outside distorted. Unlike the smooth transition of modern ships, the Vindicator seemed to tear a hole in space itself. The sensation was like being pulled through a narrow tube, and several crew members gasped in discomfort. When they emerged, the colony world of Row 7 filled the viewscreen. Above it, 7 Void Hegemony ships were in formation, beginning their attack run. They haven't noticed us yet, Miho said. Their sensors must not be focused this way. Atlas displayed a holographic tactical map. Recommend we target the lead vessel first. Their command structure appears hierarchical. Wait, Yoonji said. Before we attack, I want to understand what we're using. Show me the ship's history, Atlas. Who commanded it? What battles did it fight? The hologram nodded, and the main screen filled with historical records. Images showed the Vindicator in various conflicts, facing threats that looked nothing like anything in Confederation records. The ship's final commander was Admiral Do-hyun Lee, Atlas explained, displaying the image of a stern-faced man in a formal uniform. After the Quantum Incursion War, humanity made a collective decision to transition away from military technology. The Vindicator was placed in dormant status rather than decommissioned, as a final safeguard.
The screen showed Admiral Dohayan on the very bridge where they now stood, recording what appeared to be a final message.
"Play it," Yunji ordered. Admiral Dohayan's voice filled the bridge. Final Captain's Log. "Today we seal the Vindicator away. Humanity has chosen peace over war, creation over destruction.
I cannot pretend this transition comes easily to all of us who have known only battle. Yet I believe in the vision of those who see a better future, one where ships like this are no longer needed.
But I cannot bring myself to destroy this vessel.
The universe is vast and dark, and someday the stars may grow dark again."
The message ended, and a heavy silence fell over the bridge.
Yunji felt the weight of what they were doing, reviving not just a weapon, but a philosophy their ancestors had deliberately set aside.
The tactical alert interrupted her thoughts.
"Void ships have detected us," Miho reported.
"They're breaking formation to engage."
Commander Sun Woo Choi appeared on the communication screen, his image transmitted from the following Confederation vessel.
"Yunji, our sensors show the hegemony deploying their main weapons. The colony's shields won't hold for long."
Yunji took a deep breath and stepped toward the command chair, Admiral Dohayan's chair.
For a moment, she hesitated.
"Sometimes peace must be defended," Atlas said quietly.
"That was always the purpose of this vessel."
Yunji sat down, feeling the chair adjust to her form.
"Tactical systems online.
Target the lead void ship." "Weapons charged," Atlas confirmed.
"Awaiting your command." Outside, the void ships turned toward them, black and predatory.
They had no idea what they were facing, a ghost from humanity's warrior past, awakened once more.
"Fire," Yunji ordered.
The ancient human warship surged forward, bristling with weapons that had been legend for centuries. The legacy of steel was about to remind the galaxy why humans had once been feared among the stars. The Vindicator moved like a predator, cutting through space toward the Void Hegemony fleet. On the bridge, Yunji gripped the arms of the command chair as tactical displays showed the enemy ships adjusting their formation to meet this new threat. "They're trying to identify us," Miho reported, monitoring the sensor readings.
"Their communication channels are active. They seem confused." "Let them wonder," Yunji said. "Atlas, what are our options?"
The holographic figure stood beside the tactical station, its form flickering slightly as it processed combat scenarios. "The Vindicator's primary weapons are fully charged. Recommend targeting their command vessel first to disrupt coordination." The main view screen showed the void ships, 7 black, angular vessels with pulsing red energy lines across their hulls. Their formation shifted, creating a barrier between the Vindicator and the colony world below. "The colony's shields are at 18%, Jaiwo reported from her engineering station.
"They won't last another concentrated bombardment." Yunji nodded.
"Target the lead ship.
Let's show them what they're dealing with."
The tactical officer, Hanul Shin, inputted the commands.
"Target locked. Weapons ready. Fire," Yunji ordered. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen.
Then, a section of the Vindicator's hull shifted, revealing weapon ports that had been seamlessly integrated into its design. A brilliant beam of blue-white energy lanced out, connecting with the lead void ship in an instant. The effect was devastating and immediate. The enemy vessel didn't explode as much as it simply came apart, its shields overwhelmed in microseconds, its hull splitting along structural lines as if surgically cut.
Silence fell over the Vindicator's bridge. "Target
eliminated," Hanul finally said, his voice small with awe. The remaining void ships broke formation, some turning to face the Vindicator while others continued their assault on the colony. "They're trying to split our attention," Atlas observed. "Standard tactic when facing a superior weapon."
"They're learning," Yunji said. "But not fast enough.
Target the ships attacking the colony."
The Vindicator turned, its massive form displaying surprising agility. More weapon ports opened along its hull. "Multiple targeting solutions available," Atlas announced.
"Deploying countermeasures against incoming fire." The void ships had begun to return fire, their red energy beams striking the Vindicator. But where they hit, they seemed to dissipate against an invisible barrier.
Defensive systems holding at 97%, Jaiwu reported with amazement.
Their weapons barely register.
The Vindicator's response was swift and precise.
This time, instead of energy beams, small objects launched from the ship's sides.
What are those?
Yunji asked, watching the objects streak toward the void ships.
Autonomous hunter-killers, Atlas explained.
Each contains a tactical intelligence system programmed to identify and exploit structural weaknesses. The projectiles move with apparent intelligence, dodging defensive fire. When they reach their targets, they burrow through the void ship's hulls before detonating. 2 more enemy vessels were destroyed, while a third spun wildly, crippled by internal damage.
Colony shields at 7%, Miho reported. But the remaining void ships are pulling back from their attack run. On the communication channel, Admiral Jae Young-han's face appeared.
He was watching the battle from the Confederation support vessel that had just arrived. "Commander Park," he said, his voice tight with controlled emotion.
"What exactly are you piloting?"
"A reminder of what humanity used to be capable of," Yunji replied.
The 3 remaining void ships had regrouped and were coordinating their approach.
Their formation was tighter now, overlapping their shields to create a stronger defense.
"They're adapting," Atlas noted. "Employing shield harmonization. Can we break through?" Yunji asked. "Affirmative. Recommend main penetrator cannon." Yunji nodded. "Do it."
The Vindicator's front section began to reconfigure, components shifting to form what looked like a massive spear point. Energy gathered at its tip, building to an intensity that made the viewscreen automatically dim.
"Penetrator ready," Hanul reported. "Fire."
The weapon discharged, the energy so concentrated it appeared almost solid. It struck the center of the void formation and punched through all 3 ships at once, leaving perfect circular holes in their hulls. Secondary explosions rippled through the vessels as critical systems failed. In less than 5 minutes, the entire void fleet had been destroyed. "By the stars," Admiral Jae Young whispered over the still-open channel.
"So this is why the ancient records called humans the galaxy's most formidable warriors."
As the Vindicator moved to assist with colony evacuation, Yunji noticed the crew's expressions, a mixture of awe, pride, and unease. They had just witnessed firsthand why their ancestors had chosen to lock away such weapons.
In the corner of the bridge, Atlas's hologram studied Yunji with what almost looked like approval.
"The Vindicator was designed to end threats, not battles," the AI said quietly. "You have employed it exactly as Admiral Dohayan would have."
"Will they come back?"
Miho asked, looking at the debris field that had once been 7 warships. "Yes," Yunji said, her eyes on the stars beyond.
"They'll come for us now. With everything they have." News of the battle at Row 7 spread quickly through the Confederation.
The Vindicator docked at Central Station, the massive space facility orbiting Earth.
Engineers and scientists swarmed the ancient vessel, eager to study its systems.
Yunji stood in the ship's ready room, watching a personal log entry from Admiral Dohayan that Atlas had recovered from the ship's database. "Captain's personal log, final entry," Admiral Dohayan's voice filled the room. His face looked tired but resolute on the screen.
"Today we seal the Vindicator away.
Humanity has chosen a different path, one of creation rather than destruction. For centuries, we defined ourselves by our ability to fight. Now we seek to define ourselves by our ability to build, to heal, to connect.
Yet I cannot bring myself to dismantle this ship.
Someday, the stars may grow dark again."
The recording ended.
Yunji touched the screen, feeling a connection to this man from 1,000 years ago.
"He knew this day might come," she said quietly.
The door slid open, and Commander Sun Woo entered. His uniform was crisp, but dark circles under his eyes revealed his exhaustion.
"We've restored 87% of all systems," he reported. "The weapons work better than we could have imagined. But the Confederation Council is divided.
Half want to immediately decommission the ship after the current crisis."
"And the other half?" Yunji asked.
"They see the Vindicator as the key to survival."
Sun Woo handed her a data tablet. Either way, you've been officially assigned as acting captain.
Yunji took the tablet, surprised.
Me? Why not a senior commander? Because Atlas seems to respond better to you than anyone else. And because you found it.
The tactical display on the wall suddenly flashed red. Atlas materialized beside them, its holographic form slightly more defined than before.
Void Hegemony Fleet detected, the AI announced. 93 vessels on approach vector to the Sol system.
Yunji and Sunwoo stared at the display in shock.
The void ships moved in perfect formation, an armada unlike anything the Confederation had ever faced. That's their main fleet, Sunwoo whispered.
They must have pulled ships from every conquered sector. They are deploying a new weapon signature, Atlas continued, highlighting several larger vessels. Analysis suggests technology specifically designed to counter this vessel based on sensor data from our previous engagement. Yunji studied the tactical display, her mind racing.
How long until they reach Earth? 17 hours at current speed. The Confederation fleet? Sunwoo shook his head. Scattered across 3 sectors.
They could recall perhaps 30 ships in time.
Yunji straightened her shoulders. Then we'll have to show them what they're truly facing. Atlas, activate all systems. Everything the ship has. Warning, some systems have not been fully tested since reactivation. We don't have time for tests. Do it.
The lights dimmed momentarily throughout the ship. Deep within the Vindicator, long-dormant reactors surged to life, illuminating sections that had lain dark for centuries.
Full system activation initiated, Atlas reported. Estimated completion, 3 hours. Yunji turned to Sunwoo. Gather the crew. We need to prepare.
As word spread through Central Station, volunteers came forward, engineers, tactical officers, and scientists eager to join the Vindicator's crew. Many were driven by curiosity, others by duty, and some simply by fear of what would happen if the void hegemony reached Earth.
6 hours later, the Vindicator pulled away from the station. Its hull now glowed with lines of blue energy that pulsed like veins. New weapon systems had emerged from hidden compartments, giving the ancient warship an even more formidable appearance.
On the bridge, Yunji sat in the command chair, surrounded by her hastily assembled crew.
The main viewscreen showed the approaching void fleet, now just hours away. Final system check, she ordered. All weapons online, Hanul reported from Tactical. Engines at full capacity, Jaiwo confirmed. Defensive systems active, added Miho. Atlas appeared in the center of the bridge. Captain Park, there is one final system that requires authorization to activate. What system? The Vindicator's neural interface. It allows direct mind link between the ship's AI and its commander, creating a unified combat entity. A hush fell over the bridge.
Mind linking with AI was strictly forbidden in the Confederation, a taboo from the early days of human-AI relations.
How dangerous is it? Yunji asked quietly. The process is intense but temporary, Atlas replied. Admiral Dohayan used it in the ship's final battle. Yunji thought of the billions of lives on Earth and throughout the Confederation.
She thought of Admiral Dohayan's final log and the choice he had made to preserve this weapon, knowing someday it might be needed again.
Prepare the interface, she ordered.
As the Vindicator moved to intercept the Void Fleet, technicians attached neural sensors to Yunji's temples. She felt a cool sensation as the connection began to form.
Neural synchronization initiating, Atlas announced. Are you prepared, Captain Park? Yunji took a deep breath and nodded. For humanity.
The connection surged into her mind like a flood of light. Suddenly, she wasn't just commanding the Vindicator, she was the Vindicator, aware of every system, every weapon, every defense measure.
The ancient warship had fully awakened, and it was ready for war. Through the neural interface, Yunji felt the Vindicator as an extension of herself.
Every weapon system, every shield generator, every engine pulsed in her awareness like limbs of her own body.
Atlas existed alongside her consciousness, a presence both alien and familiar.
Neural synchronization complete, the AI's voice echoed in her mind rather than her ears.
All systems operating at optimal capacity.
The Void Hegemony fleet filled the view screen, 93 warships arranged in a three-dimensional battle formation. At their center, a massive vessel twice the size of the others pulsed with red energy. Their flagship, Yunji thought, and instantly tactical data flowed through her mind, highlighting weak points and defensive capabilities. "They are hailing us," Miho reported from his station.
On screen, Yunji said.
Her voice sounded distant to her own ears, as if coming from someone else. The screen flickered, revealing a figure unlike any Yunji had seen before.
The Void Commander's skin was gray and translucent, with visible circuitry beneath. Its eyes glowed red, matching the energy that powered its ships.
"Humans," the commander spoke, its voice metallic and cold. "You have awakened something dangerous from your past. Surrender it to us, and we will spare your homeworld."
Through the neural link, Atlas provided analysis. "They fear the Vindicator.
Their entire formation is designed to counter our primary weapons." Yunji straightened in the command chair.
"This ship was built to protect humanity. We will not surrender it or our world." The Void Commander's expression didn't change. "Then you will watch your civilization burn."
The communication ended. Immediately, the Void fleet began to move, spreading out to surround the Vindicator.
"They're launching fighters," Hanul reported. "Hundreds of them."
Through the neural link, Yunji could sense each enemy craft, plotting their trajectories before they even formed. With a thought, she activated the Vindicator's point defense systems. Thousands of tiny energy pulses shot out from the ship's surface, each finding its target with perfect precision. The first wave of fighters vanished in flashes of light. The larger void ships moved forward, their main weapons charging. They fired simultaneously, red beams converging on the Vindicator from all directions. "Adaptive shielding engaged," Yunji announced, feeling the shield generators draw power from the ship's core. The incoming fire struck the shields, which rippled but held. "Return fire," she ordered.
Pattern Omega.
The Vindicator's weapons discharged in a carefully choreographed sequence that Atlas had calculated through the neural link. Energy beams struck 7 void ships simultaneously, each targeting a specific weakness that had been identified through analysis of their design. The ships didn't explode, they simply ceased functioning, their power cores disrupted by the precise attacks.
"They're adapting," Atlas warned in Yunji's mind.
Shield frequencies shifting. The Void flagship launched what appeared to be massive torpedoes. Through the neural link, Yunji could sense they contained some kind of disruptive field technology designed specifically to counter the Vindicator's defenses. "Evasive pattern," she called out, and the ancient warship moved with shocking agility for its size. Most of the torpedoes missed, but one struck the lower hull. Yunji gasped as she felt the impact through the neural link, not pain exactly, but the distinct sensation of damage. On the bridge, alarms sounded.
"Hull breach on Deck 17, Jaiwo reported. Automatic seals holding." The Void fleet pressed their attack, encouraged by their partial success. Warships moved into firing position.
Through the neural link, Yunji accessed the Vindicator's most powerful weapon, one that Admiral Dohayan had apparently never used in recorded battle.
Initiating Nova Protocol, Atlas announced to the bridge crew. "All personnel brace for energy surge."
The ship's power core began to channel energy in a way that made the very fabric of space around the Vindicator distort.
The hull glowed brighter, blue lines of power converging at strategic points. "What's happening?"
Sunwoo asked, gripping his console as the ship vibrated. Yunji's eyes were closed, her focus entirely on the neural link.
"We're showing them why humans were once feared throughout the galaxy."
The Vindicator released the built-up energy not as a destructive beam, but as a precisely modulated wave that swept outward in all directions. Where it touched the void ships, it didn't destroy them, it simply shut them down, disrupting the connection between their organic and technological components.
Ship after ship went dark, including the massive flagship. In less than 30 seconds, the entire Void fleet drifted powerless in space. 3 days later, Yunji stood before the Confederation Council as they debated the Vindicator's fate. The neural interface had been disconnected,
but she still felt echoes of the ship's systems in her mind.
The Void Hegemony has requested peace talks, announced Council Leader Minseo Kong. Their defeat was absolute.
But now we must decide what to do with this weapon from our past. Voices rose from all sides of the chamber, some calling for the ship's decommissioning, others arguing for building more like it.
Yunji stepped forward when given permission to speak. We cannot unmake what we have awakened, she testified. But we can choose how to wield it.
In the end, the ancient human warship became a guardian of the peace, a single vessel patrolling the borders of Confederation space. Its very existence served as both shield and warning. Humans had once been warriors beyond compare, and though they had chosen a path of peace, they remembered how to fight when necessary.
Captain Yunji Park stood on the Vindicator's bridge, watching the stars as her ship moved silently through space. Atlas appeared beside her. Admiral Do-Hyun would be proud, the AI said. Yunji nodded.
Not of the fighting, but of why we fought.
For peace.
Yes, she said, for peace.